Good evening, everyone. I'm Milan, and today I want to share with you the future of internal design solutions. Let me set the scene. It's November 2020. I think you'll agree you're a pretty strapping Scottish gentleman, and you've just bought the first property in the north of Norwich. Your name? Nick Anderson. You are the mastermind behind this project. You are the warlord. Unfortunately, the previous owners of the property have not been the best internal designers, and they've placed, for some reason, a radiator within a plaster wall which has inevitably fallen out. So, what do? Well, you head down to the shop, you pick out some samples for wallpaper that are going to work. You get one that you think is going to do the idea, you're going to think it's going to do the job. You get about 3/4 of the way through the job. And it's okay, but it's just not you. You don't have the money to get a private designer to take a look, and you don't have the time to strip it. So the wall is lost and remains in an imperfect state to this very day. The warlord is the most recent casualty in the war on interior design. And in fact, from a lot of our interviewees, 2/3 in fact, we found that this problem was the same. And a lot of people were finding that they were spending an unnecessary £150 on average in extra wallpaper and a lost 16 hours that they're never going to get back. So, what's the solution? Well, it's EI. Enhanced interiors. Let me reset the scene. This time you have an advantage over the warlord. You have EI. You open the app, you pick a wallpaper of your choice, you point your camera at the wall, and voila, you have a 3D augmented reality depiction of the wallpaper on the wall before you bought it. Once you found a wallpaper of your choice, you'll be directed straight to the supplier for online order. Now, I know what you're thinking. Surely this has been done before. Well, you're almost right. There are some similar items on the market, but our product differs in two key ways. First of all, a lot of the big players focus on professional designers, creating large paywalls behind their products that essentially mean that they're reserved for the pros. At EI, we like to have the most important part of any market as the core of our business plan, the consumer. And we want to make sure that there is no paywall in order between the consumer and their wallpaper of their dreams. Secondly, I'd like to turn your attention to this side-by-side of a competitor and, of course, EI. As you'll see, there are quite a few key differences. Our wallpaper actually sticks to the wall. It takes into account the lighting and it provides extra information. Why is this? Well, other developers are great and they are behind the other technology, but they don't have one thing. They don't have the brains of the warlord. Now, judges, I'm sure that you heard the words no paywall and had a minor aneurysm, and I don't blame you, but there is money in this idea, and it comes from the suppliers and fellow app developers. Our market, which captures 360 million in valuation in 2021, has essentially allowed for us to have profit projections, including the commission that we would take and white labeling in order to project 61,000 in profits from the first year and 253,000 from year 3. But why stop there? Yes, our product only works on walls right now, but it could work on floors, it could work on ceiling ornaments, and it could even work on furniture. Indeed, the only limit to our product is the walls themselves. Thank you. Okay, far away. What do we got?
That was a great presentation, thank you very much.
Cheers.
That's some really good wall puns thrown in for good measure.
I've got plenty.
So, my question to you is, one of your key customers are the suppliers, I assume companies like B&Q and so on.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, the question really is, what would make them come to you? How will you get them to sign up to your app and product?
So essentially, one of the tiers to our monetization would look into internal advertisation of these places for the wallpapers. And while that is an extra stream of revenue, we understand that people are not going to want to do that straight away if they're not sure how solid the app is. So the initial point really is creating a database that is as complete as possible so that people are drawn into just even the novelty of actually seeing what different wallpapers would look like on their walls. We think that one of the key ways, particularly what we got out of a lot of our interviews, is that the ability to use an app that actually accurately depicts that can create demand where demand didn't actually exist before. You know, you're scanning the walls, you're looking at different wallpapers, and suddenly you actually see one that, well, you weren't planning to like as much as you do. Suddenly you're quite interested in where you can get that. As soon as the suppliers start seeing that a lot of the traffic that they're getting is coming directly out of our app, suddenly that gives some incentive.
So how are they going to find you, your customers? So how are you going to bring people to your app, and how much do you think that's going to cost you?
So we have projections of this, and essentially what we're looking at over the first 4 years is about 22,000 coming out in terms of advertising. I think one of the big problems we picked up from asking people about their experiences with other products is that you have the same problem as we've just shown, where they're just a bit naff. You know, you don't really get the feeling of what the wall would actually look like, so you don't bother. And this was actually a problem that came out by asking people about the Dulux app, that essentially gave you, what the paint would look like, and the problem is they chose sort of a block vibrant color, nothing like it would look like if you actually put it on the wall. So, in terms of how they would actually find us, it's about showing people that the technology that we've developed can actually give you an accurate show of what clearly apps already in the market have found some traction to. One of the rival apps that we showed you, Lux Walls, despite it not doing things as well as we're doing, has had 900,000 users. So people want this technology, but it's about finding something that does the job right.
Thank you.